everybody, and welcome to another weekly update video. So it feels like it's been a really fast-paced, busy week, and I suppose it has, to be honest. We've had Microsoft Ignite, and albeit a virtual event, it's still been pretty full on, and the amount of commitments that I had were massive. So yeah, let's get into some of the Azure news that's been happening. Obviously there's been a ton of news happening this week. I think I've been doing some recap videos each day at Ignite, trying to digest some of the news myself and share some of the highlights that I found. So those are really valuable as well. I think so, at least. So if you haven't checked them out, check them out, because you can find some more information as well. But in terms of recapping, we've saw a few things go generally available. So we saw Azure Arc for Windows and Linux servers go generally available. We saw Windows VMware Solutions, or AVS, go generally available, which is really exciting, and I'm really excited to see where that product now goes and how our customers adopt it. And we saw some great announcements in terms of preview features. So we saw Azure Auto Manage for virtual machines living on Azure announced, which I still need to dig into because that looks really cool, and I'd love to get a chance to actually use that and try and demo it. So if I don't get to it, probably one of my team will get to it, and we'll be talking about it on IT Ops. What else happened? So we had preview as well, Azure Resource Mover, which is going to enable you to move some of your resources from region to region much easier. There's going to be a whole kind of dependency mapping and initiation of the move so that you can do that. And I know that's going to be useful to some of our customers who have maybe been using Azure for a few years now and picked a data center that maybe wasn't as close to them as they'd like. And now with over 60 regions we have, you can now maybe pick a region that's closer to you and meet some more needs for you with Azure Resource Mover. So that's been cool. We've saw some things in terms of Microsoft 365 as well. So we saw Microsoft 365 Lighthouse launch, which, if you're familiar with Azure Lighthouse, is pretty much going to be the same product for Microsoft 365. So managed partners will be able to almost consolidate the management of their customers' tenants into one place. So those time-consuming tasks that made your life a little bit troublesome, trying to reset somebody's password by having to log into their tenant on either an in-private browser session or whatever, are now can be managed all in one place. So really excited about, again, where our customers and our partners are going to be using that. It's in preview, obviously. What else did we see? So Azure Migrate team launched something that I am definitely going to be scheduling to look at next week. They've brought out, so if you've ever heard me talking about migration, you'll hear me talking about how important discovery and assessment is, and especially the deep dive discovery, where you look at how your servers are all interconnected, because let's face it, your servers don't interact individually. They don't act on their own, or there's very few servers that will be siloed on their own and not have some kind of connectivity back to other servers, whether that be a traditional a SQL server talking to a web app and providing some information for that website that you're hosting. There's connectivity going on, and even just that rudimentary connectivity between your servers connecting back to Active Directory, for example. So the discovery piece is really important, and I always stress that to everybody. But what the Azure Migrate team have worked on and released is a Power BI dashboard to pull some of that information out of your Azure Migrate project and put it into a Power BI dashboard and report. And it looks, from what the screenshots that I've seen, it looks fairly comprehensive and a great way of showcasing that information, not only to your IT department, but also to some of your senior leadership team. So I am going to be digging into that next week, and hopefully we'll have a blog at least, and maybe a video showcasing it. So yeah, I'm excited about that as well, because I think we kind of talked about something like this a few years ago and never released anything. So it's good that they've now followed suit and re-looked at that and launched that Power BI dashboard or report. So yeah, that's cool as well. Trying to think of some of the other things that we saw. There's probably a whole host. Windows Admin Center now has a portal version, so it's now built into the Azure portal. We've also seen a ton of products rename themselves, and I definitely don't remember all the names of what they were and what they now are, but it's in my recap video, I think from day 2. and I am going to be writing a blog post about that just to help us keep it straight and make sure we're all looking after that. I think most of the products that were renamed were more in the 365 space, but I think it's important because some of these products do kind of work in tangent a little bit with some of the Azure stuff as well, and it's also good to have a reference point, even just for myself, on what all these product changes were if people are asking me about them. So definitely going to write that up at some point. So yeah, I think that's kind of the highlight news. At least that's the news that stuck in my head and I've been focusing on. There's a whole slew of developer announcements, and I know there was some stuff around GitHub code spaces and support from Visual Studio 2019. I saw Scott Hanselman and Abel Wang get really excited about that and how they could use that as developers. Not my area of expertise, but that's definitely something, if you're in that developer space, you should check out Scott and Abel's session at Ignite, because Abel also played the guitar, so it was actually quite a good session. I remember watching it, not really understanding what they were talking about, but yeah, Abel's enthusiasm and Scott's enthusiasm as well came across, and yeah, it's probably worth watching if you have some kind of interest in that developer Visual Studio GitHub code spaces space. So yeah, it's been a busy week, and I wanted to actually tell you, I don't know if this is of interest, but what it was like backstage for me, because I was taking part in live interviews on the main stage or the main live stream on my Ignite website, and yeah, I wanted to share what it was a bit like for me and some of the people behind the scenes doing some of that. So last year at Ignite, we obviously were in person in Orlando, and we had this big Channel 9 stage where we sat as news reporters and had teleprompters. We had the cameras with the light, so we were having to check and see which camera had the light to look at it. And yeah, there was all sorts of people talking in my ear and earpieces and telling me how much time I had to do and screaming at me as what I had to say and stuff like that to hand off the sessions. This year it was kind of the same, I'll be honest. So it was kind of the same. What we had to do was join a Microsoft Teams meeting, and when we joined, the team had put up a teleprompter on one side, so I had the text that I had to say to feed in and feed out of my slot, and I had a mini version of what was on the live stream, and they played a little bit of that in my ear so as I knew what was happening. So I knew if one of the hosts in the studio were saying, and we're going to be handing over to Sarah, and then when they finished I could start my piece. And then I also had a timer that counted me down for my session. So I either had like 15 minutes or 10 minutes or however long my slot was. And the timer was really cool because it was there was a green bar, so I was good for the time. Then there was a yellow bar, which was starting to kind of warn me that I'm getting near the end. And then there was a red bar. Everything turned red in the clock, so that I knew time was really running out. And that was really good because I think you can just see it in the background. So I have my webcam kind of over there. So my webcam's, let me see, can't point on the camera. So my webcam's up here and my laptop is below it usually. And I usually stand up for these kind of presentation sessions so that the camera is actually at my eye level. So I can look directly at the camera. And then obviously my laptop's a little bit below, so it was good to be able to see the things like the teleprompter in large text, and even just the countdown of the timer and the colours, and like in my periphery vision, so that I didn't have to keep looking down, and then it would look real weird if I was on camera. And then obviously I had people talking in my ear as well, giving me a countdown if I was coming out of a video that was playing on the main stream, and yeah, there was nobody going to be handing me over. So yeah, it was pretty well organised. It was really smooth. The people that helped me, Gar was the person that was kind of being my producer and helping me in the background, and that was really great as well. And I also had on my other screen a teleprompter as well that was feeding some of the questions that I was asking my my guest around. So yeah, that was really positive. It was really good experience and I enjoyed it, to be honest. It was a little bit stressful, especially those nerves kicking in just before you went on stage or went live on the camera. And but yeah, it was really well organised. Everybody was really supportive, and I think we all managed to pull off Ignite this year. Obviously, let me know what your feedback is if you enjoyed Ignite. Ignite, didn't enjoy it, anything you would change. It looks like we're doing another virtual Ignite in March next year, so definitely if there's things we can improve on, please do feedback back to us. Either you can feed it back to me and I'll feed it back into the team, or there were session evaluations happening on some of the sessions, so definitely take the time to fill some of them in, as that feedback will be listened to. So it's definitely worth feeding that back as well. And I keep pressing the desk to up and down it. So yeah, so hopefully that's been useful. Hopefully the news recap and some of the behind the scenes. I do wish I'd caught a picture or a screenshot of what it looked like behind the scenes for me as an interviewer, but hopefully my description made some sense and you've enjoyed this video. And again, please do hit the like button if you've enjoyed this video. It helps kind of the YouTube algorithms push it up to other people to find my content. And if you're a new subscriber, thank you and welcome. And if you haven't subscribed already, you know what to do. And I will catch you in my next video.